Y'all finished or y'all done? I ain't got no more talking. Let's rock.
All right.
All right, Buck. See you later, nigga.
We always turn to Anjali with issues regarding COVID. There's a study, it was NPR as well as, I believe it was an offshoot of Johnson & Johnson, the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, actually, and the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health that did a study that looked at the impact of COVID on Black and Latino families. Anjali, tell us more about this.
That's correct, Adam. So this actually is an interesting study because it extrapolates what we saw being a concern as well as looked into at the very start of the pandemic, and that is just what that income gap is, what the wealth gap looks like right now, with a majority of Latino and African American families with children suffering more when it comes to the financial impact of the coronavirus pandemic. And so when we're looking at sort of at large from the sample size, about 60% of the sample size of Americans saying that they have been negatively impacted, with more than 80% of African American families saying the same. So clearly seeing that divide. Early on in the outbreak, we saw a study from the Urban Institute showing that 25 to 35% of African American and Latino families saying that they could not work from home. So sort of setting the stage for what we see right now in this new study. And going back to the pandemic itself, we already know disproportionately the virus impacts these very same communities. So really, widening the gaps that already existed within society and waiting to see just how those get addressed.
We're going to talk now about real estate. The global housing market is slowing down, and some cities could be due for a price correction. That's all according to a new study. For more on this, we're joined now by Yahoo Finance's Sarah Painter. Hey, Sarah.
Hi, Kristen. So this study looks at cities around the world, the 25 biggest cities, and we're seeing that Munich, Frankfurt, Paris, Amsterdam, all of these Eurozone cities are a little bit overheated to the point that experts are concerned that it could be a housing bubble and that they could have a sharp price correction. We also, for the first time, are seeing more concern around Zurich, which has grown 50% in prices since 2010. So around Europe, there's a lot of concern around these rising prices that people won't be willing to pay them, and there will be a sharp price correction. But in the US, it's a very different story. We're not expecting to see any sharp price corrections. And even as the housing market is really hot in the US, cities are less in demand than the rest of the country, and so they're cooling down a little without popping as a housing bubble would.
So, Sarah, I actually just left yesterday my apartment in Brooklyn, and I have now moved to the suburbs. I know that I'm not alone. Can you talk about how that's contributing to this?
Yeah, absolutely. So during the coronavirus pandemic, obviously a lot of people want to live in the suburbs as they're sheltering in place to have a little bit more room. And they aren't as tied to their offices now and confined by their commutes. So the U.S. is seeing an explosion in home demand, which is driving up prices for homes across the U.S. In cities, though, that's where people are leaving. So prices in the cities aren't keeping pace with that of the rest of the country, but they're still considered overvalued. They're not considered at risk of being a housing bubble, but they've been overpriced for a long time, especially if you look at New York and San Francisco, serious affordability problems. And so the way that balances out is because there's this shortage of demand that has been lasting for 10 years in those places or more, it kind of balances out as people are leaving and keeping that pushed up so that the market doesn't just deflate as people move out to the suburbs.
All right. Yahoo Finance's Sarah Painter. You can check yahoofinance.com for article on that.
Hey investors, Zach Guzman here. Are you interested in learning more about the markets and getting the latest financial news? Well, then click right here to subscribe to our Yahoo Finance YouTube channel. Get the latest up-to-the-minute market analysis, big interviews in the world of finance, and information on how to manage your money every day.
Who works for the city of New Orleans will take a pay cut for the rest of this year. But the furloughs, they extend well beyond City Hall over to the police department, the fire department, and other emergency personnel.
The reality is we are in a fiscal crisis.
The coronavirus pandemic is projected to cost the city of New Orleans $150 million in lost revenue, according to Mayor LaToya Cantrell. Since March, Cantrell said her team has pieced together savings and one-time money to stay afloat. But that ends this month.
The fact that our folks have been working throughout this pandemic, that is an example and a testament to our hard work, and not only that, just how we care about our people.
Cantrell appealing to the Civil Service Commission to fast-track furloughs. It's expected to save the city about $6 million, but will cost its workers a 10% pay cut. According to the city, over 600 unclassified employees will work 6 days without pay between now and the end of the year. About 300 workers will be encouraged to retire. And 4,000 classified workers are forced to take an unpaid day off. That includes firefighters, emergency personnel, and New Orleans police officers. Former NOPD SWAT commander Mike Kahn says the furloughs have been tried before and wound up driving officers off the force.
I think it would be very challenging to ask police officers right now to take this time off and to actually decrease the amount of police that you have on the street. We're dealing with crime situations in multiple districts, a lot of violent crime that happens in certain areas, and this would be detrimental to what we're trying to achieve in the city with getting a grasp on overall crime.
Mayor Cantrell acknowledges that the furloughs may not be enough to solve this budget crisis going into 2021, but she says she is hopeful that she will not have to eventually cut jobs. Reporting live in New Orleans, I'm Jennifer Crockett.
We see these things coming so far out now. This is 4 or more days out, and actually the timing for an eventual Gulf Coast landfall is pushed back now to Friday night, maybe even early Saturday. So it's just barely Tuesday morning, of course. We have a few days to go until we get this, first of all, into the Gulf, which may happen tomorrow in the second part of the day, but then eventually toward the Gulf Coast. So the big thing with Delta this morning is, of course, that it has become a Category 2 storm, and its winds jumped up from early this morning at 100 miles per hour to now 110 miles per hour for the maximum sustained winds. So it is not far, in fact, just 1 mile per hour short if you look at the exact mile per hour categories for the Saffir-Simpson wind scale, almost becoming a Category 3. So it is just short of that now. That'll probably happen later on today. And note the 3s and the 4s expected, the Categories 3 and 4 for its intensity over the next few days. Now, intensity can fluctuate, it can change, but at this point, the maximum winds from the National Hurricane Center's forecast are set at 130 miles per hour. That is the upper range for how strong it might get. That would be a Category 4. And then, of course, the big thing also that we're watching, that's kind of changed today, a higher intensity for that. The other thing that we're watching that actually really hasn't changed much is the big area of uncertainty from East Texas, extreme East Texas, all the way to Louisiana, and including the parts of the Gulf Coast all the way to the Florida Panhandle. Here are the computer models just to give you a look at the spread and look at some of these which are trending a little farther to the west. So that's been a development today. A lot of them are clustered right now right over the south central Louisiana coast. But let me show you a couple of the models. The GFS model, first of all, I have it paused here, Saturday 3 a.m. So landfall, instead of we were thinking maybe early Friday, it might get pushed back to maybe Friday night or early Saturday. And note that the center of the low here is way over almost to where Hurricane Laura made landfall near the Louisiana-Texas state line. Now look at the European model, which I'll jump to now. It has a similar solution this morning. Now these will jump back and forth, I think, because the system's still in the Caribbean and we don't know exactly how much these steering currents are going to play a role. that is kind of normal. 3-4 days out, we don't know exactly when the trough will build in or how far south. There are some fluctuations that typically happen with any forecast in that frame. So the big things will be the high pressure directing it to the northwest. And you saw there a pretty strong high pressure building in and taking it almost toward the Texas coast with both the European and the GFS. So just something to kind of note this morning that we're seeing with that trend. And then the trough of low pressure, which will be responsible for turning it to the north and northeast. So those two factors plus Gamma's role. Gamma's a post-tropical system now, but there's still some low pressure near Yucatan. We will see how that exerts its influence over Delta when Delta comes barreling that way later today and tonight. So in New Orleans today, clouds. We have a slight chance for some showers, and we actually have a couple of showers right along the coast even right now. Tomorrow looks quiet too, but the impacts are going to be hugely dependent on where it makes landfall, which I just showed you could be in a wide range of areas still.
So still to the west, where at least 30 people have now lost their lives in those deadly wildfires. Firefighters are trying to get them under control before dangerous winds return to Northern California. Zoreen Shah is in Napa with more. Zoreen, good morning.
Good morning, Diane. Over 24 major wildfires burning in California right now. Across Napa and Sonoma counties, over 140 homes look just like this one, burned to the ground. You can see the stairway behind me that once led to a home, now swallowed by flames. Now, over 22,000 structures are threatened by fires. All the people who've been evacuated can no longer get into their homes because this fire is incredibly fast moving. Just overnight, it grew to over 50,000 acres, still only 2% contained. 200 miles north of us in Shasta County, the Zogg fire took the lives of 4 people just this week, bringing the total number of lives lost in California to 30 people just this year. Now, that fire also over 50,000 acres large, only 7% contained. And now there's fears it could combine with the August fire just west of it. That one is nearly 1 million acres large, the largest wildfire in California history. Now, back out here at the Glass fire, it is expected to be a very, very tough day for firefighters. Red flag warnings expected back out here this afternoon. Diane?
Zoreen Shah, Northern California. Thanks, Zoreen.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts.
I want to begin by thanking all of the incredible medical professionals, the doctors, the nurses, everybody at Walter Reed Medical Center. I think it's the finest in the world for the incredible job they've been doing. I came here, wasn't feeling so well. I feel much better now. We're working hard to get me all the way back. I have to be back because we still have to make America great again. We've done an awfully good job of that, but we still have steps to go, and we have to finish that job. And I'll be back. I think I'll be back soon. And I look forward to finishing up the campaign the way it was started and the way we've been doing and the kind of numbers that we've been doing. We've been so proud of it. But this was something that happened, and it's happened to millions of people all over the world, and I'm fighting for them, not just in the U.S. I'm fighting for them all over the world. We're going to beat this coronavirus, or whatever you want to call it, and we're going to beat it soundly. So many things have happened. If you look at the therapeutics, which I'm taking right now, some of them, and others are coming out soon that are looking like, frankly, they're miracles. If you want to know the truth, they're miracles. People criticize me when I say that, but we have things happening that look like they're miracles coming down from God. So I just want to tell you that I'm starting to feel good. You don't know over the next period of a few days. I guess that's the real test. So we'll be seeing what happens over those next couple of days. I just want to be so thankful for all of the support I've seen, whether it's on television or reading about it. I most of all appreciate what's been said by the American people, by almost a bipartisan consensus of American people. It's a beautiful thing to see, and I very much appreciate it, and I won't forget it. I promise you that. I also want to thank the leaders of the world for their condolences, and they know what we're going through. They know what, as your leader, what I have to go through. But I had no choice because I just didn't want to stay in the White House. I was given that alternative. Stay in the White House, lock yourself in, don't ever leave, don't even go to the Oval Office. Just stay upstairs and enjoy it. Don't see people, don't talk to people, and just be done with it. And I can't do that. I had to be out front, and this is America. This is the United States. This is the greatest country in the world. This is the most powerful country in the world. I can't be locked up in a room upstairs and totally safe and just say, hey, whatever happens, happens. I can't do that. We have to confront problems. As a leader, you have to confront problems. There's never been a great leader that would have done that. So that's where it is. I'm doing well. I want to thank everybody. Our First Lady is doing very well. Melania asked me to say something as to the respect that she has for our country, the love that she has for our country. And we're both doing well. Melania is really handling it very nicely. As you've probably read, she's slightly younger than me, just a little tiny bit. And therefore, just we know the disease, we know the situation with age versus younger people. And Melania is handling it statistically like it's supposed to be handled. And that makes me very happy, and it makes the country very happy. But I'm also doing well, and I think we're going to have a very good result. Again, over the next few days, we're going to probably know for sure. So I just want to thank everybody out there, everybody, all over the world, specifically the United States. The outpouring of love has been incredible. I will never forget. Thank you very much.
This is Job 9:24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? All right. The earth has been given into the hand of the wicked. As you can see in the videos that was posted before the scriptures, there are a lot of things going on here in Babylon the Great that's, due to the wicked being in rulership. So the people are fighting against each other. The earth is fighting against the wicked. You got your fires going on the West Coast. You got an active hurricane season down here in the South, in the southern states. Then you have you still have the so-called coronavirus pandemic going on, unemployment at a high rate. It's just a lot of things that are going on, and the president of Donald Trump, he's talking about we got to continue to make America great again. and it's not going to become great again. It's not. All these things are for signs and wonders to let the people know that the end of this kingdom or the end of this age is near. And we can clearly see the fall of it because all these different things are going on, and it's all happening at the same time. Okay. So this is Job chapter 5, verse 12. He disappointeth the devices of the crafty so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. Right? He's not going to let them, succeed in their plan. Their plan is total, control, chipping everybody, all that. But this is what he's going to do. Job chapter 20, verse 22. In the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits right now, because you can see it's hard for him. Okay? It's difficult because the people are fighting back against him. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. When he is about to fill his belly, when he thinks that he's, eating good, he thinks everything is going to, succeed and go through, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. Okay? So while he is eating, all these things are going to take place. That's why it says sudden destruction is going to come upon them, because they're not looking for it. All right. Proverbs chapter 29:2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. There is nothing but just constant wickedness in this kingdom. That's how you know that the righteous are not in authority. Nobody's rejoicing. Everybody's mourning. The people are mourning. The trees are mourning. The grass is mourning. The skies is mourning. You know, the animals are mourning. You know, everyone and everything, every creature, everything that's a part of this intricate system of this living vessel of the earth is mourning. You know, and that's why all these things are taking place. It's literally fighting back against the wicked. Okay? This is Isaiah chapter 14, verse 8. Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since thou art laid down, no feller is come up against thee. The fir trees are those trees, you know, which they cut down every year for Christmas. And that feller is an axe. Okay? They are going to be rejoicing, saying that they don't have to be cut down anymore, you know, for idol worship. Okay? This is Isaiah chapter 24, verse 5. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, and broken the everlasting covenant. Therefore hath the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left. The new wine mourneth, and the vine languisheth. All the merry-hearted do sigh. The mirth of tabrets ceaseth. The noise of them that rejoice endeth, and the joy of the harp ceaseth. They shall not drink wine with a song. Strong drink shall be bitter to them that drink. The city of confusion, Babylon, land of confusion, is broken down. Every house is shut up, and no man may come in. Okay? Everything is broken down. All right? The mirth is gone. The mirth of Babylon the Great is gone. And what's going to be the end result of it? Let's get it. It's Jeremiah chapter 15, Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 14. Put yourselves in array against Babylon round about. All ye that bend the bow, shoot at her, spare no arrows, for she hath sinned against the Most High. Shoot against her round about. She hath given her hand, her foundations are fallen, her walls are thrown down, for it is the vengeance of the Most High. Take vengeance upon her, as she hath done unto her. The Most High is going to allow those arrows, which are the nuclear missiles, and he says, shoot at her and spare none. Meaning all these missiles are going to be shot off. They ain't just make those ICBM nuclear missiles for no reason. They're all going to be shot off. They're all, and he says, say spare none. So there ain't going to be none left. Okay? This is Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 6. Flee out of the midst of Babylon, and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of the Most High's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. Okay? Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad, and everyone has their hand in dealing with America, Babylon the Great. Okay? Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her. Take balm for her pain. If so be, she may be healed. And that's what they're doing. They're trying their best, cutting back jobs, laying off workers, trying to save money, trying to continue these businesses as best as they can with the so-called pandemic, in order to heal her. And then they're going to increase production of currency, change currency all the way down till they get to finally being on the chip, the RFID chip, the mark of the beast. They're doing whatever they can to heal it, to restore, to, as Donald Trump said, make America great again. They're trying to make Babylon great again, but it's not going to happen. Okay? Verse 9, check this out. This is what it literally says it. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go everyone into his own country. For her judgment reacheth unto heaven, and is lifted up even to the skies. All right. They're not going to be healed. And the end result is they're going to be destroyed and burned up. Okay. This is 2 Ezra chapter 13, verse 9. And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war. But only I saw that he sent out of his mouth as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests. This talking about Yahushua. And they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest, and fell with violence upon the multitude which were prepared to fight, and burned them up every one, so that upon a sudden and innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived but only dust and the smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. Okay? The only thing that's going to be left of the people and here is Babylon the Great and the land also, just going to be dust and smell of smoke. It says that the earth is going to reel to and fro. All the foundations are going to be out of course. You know, it's going to, when these things, when nuclear missiles hit, you know, when that fire comes, everything is going to be shifted out of place. You're not going to be able to look over here on a map, you know, and or even look down from the skies or the heavens and say, oh, that's where America was. Or this where I used to live. This where you're not even going to know what it is. If, you know, you're not going to even be able to know what none of that is. Okay. This is Revelation chapter 18. And I'm going to start at verse 1. After these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. All right, that's it. That's all that's going to be here. Nothing left. Okay. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. Did they not take part? Every nation takes part in dealing with America, Babylon the Great, and they always, and you know, they're all interconnected. That's why, you know, when Babylon falls, the other nations are going to fall. They won't, you know, they're saying China, you know, will be the next world power. That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. They're all intertwined. And on top of that, Yahweh is going to destroy these people. Okay? And I heard another voice out of heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High have remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she rewarded you, double unto her according to her works. In the cup which she hath filled, fill to her double. How much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen and am no widow, and she shall see no sorrow. And that's the pride of America. That's the pride of Babylon the Great. They feel like they can't be touched, that they're the greatest nation on earth. We're going to see. We're going to see just how great they are. You know, I was watching The Last Dragon not a couple weeks ago, and showed up said, yeah, Leroy, I got something real for your ass in these hands. I got something real for America, Babylon the Great, in them hands. They ain't gonna like it neither. Verse 8. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and famine and mourning. Death, mourning, and famine. And she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is the Lord God, who judgeth her. And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her. He's going to make an example out of Babylon the Great. Okay? And lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning. They gonna see it. Check this out. Verse 10. Standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise anymore. The merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones and pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet and all fine wood and all manner of vessels of ivory, all manner of vessels of the most precious wood and of brass and iron and marble and cinnamon and odors and ointments and frankincense and wine and oil and fine flour and wheat and beasts and sheep and horses and chariots and slaves and souls of men. And the fruits that thy soul lusted after are departed from thee. That's everything. Listen, everything that American Babylon the Great has is gone. Okay? It will be no more. And the fruits of thy soul lusted after are departed from thee, and all things which were dainty and goodly are departed from thee, and thou shalt find them no more at all. Okay? The merchants of these things which were made rich by her shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment, weeping and wailing. Like I said, he's going to make an example out of Babylon the Great, saying, Alas, alas, that great city that was clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, for in 1 hour so great riches is come to naught. And every shipmaster and all the company of ships and sailors, and as many as trade by sea, stood afar off and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, What city is like unto this great city? And they cast dust upon their heads and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, Alas, alas, that great city, wherein were made rich and all that had ships in the sea by reason of her coastlines, for in 1 hour is she made desolate. Okay? Rejoice over her, thou heaven, and ye holy apostles and prophets, for the Most High have avenged you on her. Did not they kill a lot of our people? A lot of our people here? Or are they not still doing it today? Did they not take us to slavery? All tribes? Okay? Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Okay? And he's going to avenge us. Okay? All right? So Babylon the Great, you are finished and you are done. As Birdman said, you are finished and you are done. All right. So call Allah Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai by Shem Kakwadash, double honors to the apostles, elders, great millstone, rule well. Peace, salutation, brothers, and hopeful elect out there pushing his word, truth and sincerity. Hope you edified. Shalom.
Y'all finished or y'all done? I ain't got no more talking. Let's rock.
All right. All right. All right, Buck. See you later, nigga.